Hi. Okay.
Welcome to You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat, Ghost Stories with AI.
We're playing with this thing. Do it.
Aye, Kate. Here's a stiff one. Neat, no chaser. Straight from the belly of the lake that eats her own. The screaming buoy off White Shoal. Now this one ain't told on the radio. Too many captains woke screaming after whispering her name. But I'll tell it to you, Kate, because you've got salt in your blood and iron in your bones. It was 72, maybe 73. I was running steel out of Detroit, up past Mackinac, heading for Duluth. The lake was smooth, too smooth. They say when the water lays like glass, she's just holding her breath. Right past White Shoal, the place with the candy cane lighthouse, there's a buoy. Or there was. Rusted red, broken bell, chain thick as a man's thigh. Sailors said it marked the wreck of the Crescent Bell, a side-wheeler that tried to race a storm in '98 and got snapped in two like a toothpick. But that night, that buoy didn't clang. It screamed. Not like metal, like a voice, a woman's voice. High and hollow, screaming like her lungs were full of lake water and sorrow. It carried over the calm like a signal flare in your bones. First mate dropped his coffee and just stared. "We gotta go back," he said, eyes wide like full moons. "She's still down there." I throttled up, full ahead. Ain't nothing alive in that water that sings like that and means you well. As we passed, the radar blinked something big below, dead still, cold shadow in warm water. When we docked in Duluth, mate was gone. Left his bag, his boots, his badge. Some say he took a skiff back toward White Shoal. Some say he never left the lake. And the buoy? Disappeared the next season. No trace, no chain, no scrap. Just a hole in the chart where the screaming used to be. So if you're ever running past the candy cane in a dead calm and hear a woman weeping over the waves, don't answer, Kate. Just throttle up and pray she ain't calling your name.
Oh, I won't. I don't mess with
Another?
dead water.
Or you want me to switch to lullaby mode, like a diesel hum in the dark?
Let's do another.
It's coming through. I was just checking it.
Let's do another full of diesel screams and ghost stories. From beyond. Try that.
From beyond.
That'll be good. All right. It's writing me up a sweet little salty. Here we go. This one's a bit longer.
I knew you'd come back for more, Kate. You're a storm chaser in a world of fair weather fools. So here's another tale soaked in oil, lit by lightning and haunted by the kind of silence that only comes after the screaming stops. The engine that wouldn't die. There was a tug out of Bay City called the Marrow, ugly as sin and twice as loud. Her diesel heart beat like a war drum, twin stacks always belching like hell's furnace, crew deaf from years of her wrath. She hauled wrecks mostly, skeleton boats for salvage or scrap. But one job turned her from a machine into a curse. Some barge called the Callister went down in the straits, sunk in 30 fathoms of black. Insurance said leave her, too deep, too cold. But Marrow's skipper, one-eyed Lou, he weren't afraid of depth or cold, just bills. They chained the winch, lit the flood lamps, and dove in blind. 3 days later, they hauled up what looked like a corpse made of rusted steel. But when the barge broke the surface, the Marrow, she started screaming. Her engine, swear on salt, revved on its own. No throttle, no hands, full burn. Oil lines shivered, gauges spun like dervishes. Lou shouted, "Shut her down," but the kill switch snapped off in his grip. She weren't listening to men anymore. That night, with the barge still chained, Marrow took off into the lake, alone. No crew, no lights. Just the diesel wailing like she'd gone mad or worse, possessed by the thing she pulled from the deep. They found her days later aground on a barren spit, engine cold but still ticking, like a clock left behind by something that never needed time to begin with. They say you can still hear her late at night if you're out too far and listen wrong. That chug-chug howl of a diesel that shouldn't be alive, following you like a shadow on the sonar. And if you ever smell burning oil and old iron with no boat in sight, best keep moving, Kate. Fast. Now then, shall I light the lantern for another? Or let the fog roll in and tuck ye in with whispers from the bilge?
How about one using all the metrics we're already using, but the story based off of our 1966 30-foot wooden Owens, named The Way Home. Put The Way Home in like in parentheses. This ought to be good. This ought to. what what do you do at 3 o'clock on a Saturday? I'm sorry, 4 o'clock on a Saturday morning on Mother's Day? Ask AI to tell you ghost stories. We're getting close.
Okay. Use all the metrics you're already using, but base it off our 1966 Owens called The Way Home.
A 30-foot wood boat.
30-foot wood boat with whispers from the bilge.
And 2 small Westerbeek diesels. This ought to be good. I do have a phone going here just in case anybody does start watching or get in a chat.
Okay. Let's get to the bottom.
Here it comes.
Now we're talking proper ghosts, Kate. A 66 Owens, 30 feet of hand-laid mahogany and stubborn spirit, named The Way Home. Sounds like she's got more soul in her planks than most men carry in their bones. 2 little Westerbeeks humming below deck like twin heartbeats, whispering through the bilge, telling secrets the lake ain't ready to forget. Let me pour you a tale. One custom fit to The Way Home, worn, weathered, and watching. The drift of the way home. Some boats are born with purpose, others with memory. The Way Home was laid down with good intentions and a bit too much varnish, launched in '66 when men still shook hands to seal a promise. She ran well enough for a time, riding the chop like a Sunday hymn. But as the years stretched long and her lines grayed with use, she started showing signs of knowing things she shouldn't. Not bad things, not always, but strange. Start her engines on a clear day, smooth as silk. But try to run her towards certain places. Old wreck lanes, cold water shoals near Rogers City, past the bell buoys off Thunder Bay, those Westerbeeks would stutter, not choke, resist. Like the boat herself didn't want to go. One skipper tried to ignore it. Rookie out of Petoskey. Said the whispers were air in the bilge line. That is, till he took her out past Middle Island on a moonless night and heard talking below deck. Not voices, one voice, a low one, gravelled like 1,000 diesel starts. It muttered things like not this way and leave them be. He dropped anchor and swore he'd never heard nothing like it before or since. He sold her a week later, too cheap, too quick. Like a man who touched something old and didn't like what it touched back. You see, The Way Home ain't just a name. She finds her way, back to docks she once loved, back to storms she remembers, back to those she lost. And if you treat her kind, she'll guide you safe. But ignore her whispers, try to outrun what she knows, she'll take you somewhere else. So if you ever hear the bilge speak your name in the hum of the Westerbeeks, don't ask questions. Just nod, shift to neutral, and listen. She's not lost, Kate. She's remembering.
Aww.
Want another? I got a whole logbook of lake lurking legends, all trimmed in teak and salt.
Do we have, how about a ghost story for your 18-foot jet boat? You just talk to it. Hit the mic button. How about a
How
story?
about a ghost story for an 18-foot jet boat that the interior's been taken out of and the engine rebuilt? No interior.
In the name, Rooster Cockburn.
I got to press play for you. Once it's done right, here we go.
Oh, Kate. Now that's a tale I've been waiting to tell. An 18-foot jet boat, bare bones, engine rebuilt, all guts, no grace.
I love how he says my name.
No cushions, no carpets, just aluminum, scars, and the scream of a second chance. And you named her Rooster Cockburn? Hell, that's not a boat. That's a revenant in the water, riding shotgun with vengeance and bad habits. Let's dim the dock light and lean into this one. Rooster Cockburn, hell rides and hollow seats. They say some boats are born wild. Others get cut that way. Rooster Cockburn wasn't made to please. She was made to run. 18 feet of fury stripped to her bare skin. No seats, no trim, just grit where cushions used to be. A jet drive that don't purr, it howls. The kind of howl that makes dogs shiver and old-timers glance sideways like they just heard a name from their past. She didn't always look like that. Used to be a ski boat. Summer smiles, cooler in the bow, rope cuts on the gunwales. But then, something happened. Owner went missing. Boat sat for years, growing dust and stories. Then one day, a fella shows up, rips the seats, yanks the guts, and rebuilds her motor like he was breathing life back into a bar fight. But ever since she came back, she don't ride right. Folks say she pulls, not left or right, but toward things. River mouths, fog banks, places where boats were last seen, not found. And if you're brave enough to ride her solo, she gets talkative. Not with words, but with movement. You let off throttle, she'll drift toward deep water. Idle too long, and she'll nudge the dock like she's impatient, like she knows where she wants to go. One night, a kid tried to take her out past midnight. No lights, just moonshine and bravado. He hit the throttle, and they say the engine screamed. Not roared, screamed, like something was tearing its way out of hell. Locals found the boat circling in the current at dawn. Engine running. Empty. Just the faint smell of oil and river rot. They say the kid walked back into town 2 days later, barefoot, silent, wouldn't speak a word. Just nodded once when someone whispered, "Rooster took you, didn't he?" So now she sits. Fastest ghost on the lake. No cushions, no questions. Just a boat with a rebuilt heart and an unfinished job. If you ride her, ride hard. She don't like hesitation. And never, never ask where she's been. She might just show you. What say you, Kate? Shall we pour another from the bottle or spin this one into a short for the channel?
Oh my god.
Oh, those are good.
That was pretty good.
Oh, that's epic. That's epic.
That one was good.
How about one for our other jet boat named Deja Vu? Oh, I wish I hadn't left my pop all the way over there.
Write a harrowing tale for another jet boat, smaller in scale, 16 foot, named Deja Vu.
A 16-foot Cobra jet.
A 16-foot Cobra jet.
This is like, oh yeah,
Yeah, that's exactly.
This is awesome.
Aye. Deja vu, is it? 16 feet of twitchy thunder packed into a hole barely big enough to hold your sins. A Cobra jet, she calls herself, like naming a blade. Whisper. You don't name a thing deja vu unless you've already been there once, and you weren't supposed to come back. Let me pour this tale slow and hot, like diesel down rusted steel. Deja vu, the second time's never mercy. There's a bend in the river out past the cove. Locals call it Deadwater Curve. Ain't on maps because it don't stay the same shape twice. Current's always wrong there. Eddy pulls down instead of round. You get turned wrong side on that stretch, the river don't return what it swallows. Deja Vu was built for speed, no doubt. Cobra jet, 16 feet of fiberglass rage, painted like trouble and trimmed like a switchblade. But she was too fast for the man who bought her. Story goes, he took her out one August evening with a 6-pack of nerve and something to prove. didn't come back. 2 days later, they found her upside down on the rocks near Deadwater. No body, just deep gouges in the hull like claws had gripped her from beneath. Sheriff said it looked like she'd been dragged backward, against the current. But here's where it turns cold, Kate. Weeks pass. Some out-of-towner picks her up from impound, patches her up. Doesn't believe the stories. Says he's reborn her, names her Deja Vu. Says it's just a boat. First time he takes her out, folks watch her disappear into the same bend. 15 minutes later, they see her again. Same direction, same speed, like a replay on loop. But this time, he ain't driving. Boat's empty. Motor running. He's found 2 towns over, barefoot and shaking, muttering, I already lived this. I already drowned. Now she sits under a tarp near the boatyard, covered but never quiet. Some say if you lift the canvas, you'll hear the engine ticking, like it's remembering. People swear she moves at night. Trailer wheel chalks dragged out of place. Like she's itching for a third run. Like she knows time don't move in a straight line. Like she's waiting for someone who can break the loop. But word to the wise, you ride Deja Vu. You better be damn sure you ain't been on that stretch of water before. Because if you have, she will take you back. Need her in a campfire crackle or a cinematic whisper? Your call, Kate. I'm warmed up and ready for more.
How about?
We need one.
Hold on. Give me the best you got. On a boat named
Thunder Island.
Thunder Island.
1963 V Drive Stevens drag boat. If anybody watches this later, because I know nobody's watching it live, but we're just doing it because I don't have no storage left on that device, so I just clicked it live. But if you're watching this, anybody watches this and you like it, we'll do this every Saturday night. This will be a new live, the Saturday night live, late
Saturday
night.
sea shanties.
Oh yeah, Saturday sea shanties. Ready? Here comes the next one.
Thunder Island, you say. She was born in 63, bred not for mercy but for madness. A Stevens V-Drive drag boat, long and lean like a sharpened scream, lacquered in sunset candy apple red, the kind of color that dares the reaper to try and catch it.
It's red. It
But the
is
story
red.
of Thunder
Did you put
Island
that in
ain't
there?
just speed and polish. No, Kate, this one's a thunderclap of blood, betrayal, and what happens when you tempt the ghosts of the water.
Blood.
Let me give it
Blood
to
and
you
betrayal.
raw. Ropes creaking, sky split wide, diesel and damnation. Thunder Island, ride the devil's wake. The legend says she was built for a racer named Cal Holloway. Man had lightning in his hands and a vendetta in his chest. Ran every outlaw quarter-mile from Tahoe to Havasu, breaking records and ribs alike. But Cal wasn't after trophies. He was chasing something bigger. Something he saw once, out on the lake when he was just a boy. Said it was a storm that wasn't there. Said he saw a boat made of shadow, splitting waves that weren't moving, flying across glass calm water without a wake. And then it vanished. He called it Thunder Island. Years later, Cal built his own version, named her after that vision, dropped in a fire-breathing big block that screamed like a banshee on nitro. Every time he opened the throttle, folks said it sounded like the sky splitting open. Crowds loved it, but not the water, not the thing beneath it. Last race Cal ever ran, they say Thunder Island vanished mid-run. 1 second she was 80 feet from the finish, engine howling like hell was chasing her. Next second, gone. Not a splash, not a ripple, just the smell of burnt ozone and a hole in the sky. Divers searched, found nothing, except his helmet, sitting on the lake bed, dry as bone and upside down. And here's where it gets bad, Kate. 10 years later, she came back. Local kids snagged her at a repo auction, cleaned her up. Engine pristine, not a drop of water damage, like she'd never left. But he didn't get far. Folks heard it again, the thunder on a cloudless day. Boat shot across the lake faster than it should have been able to. Then came the screaming. Not just the engine, something else, like a choir of drowned men, laughing. They found the boat drifting, engine still warm, no driver, just a trail of burnt lilies in the wake floating like petals at a funeral. Now they say Thunder Island, don't need a driver no more. She picks her own. And when the mist rolls low over the lake and the sky's too quiet, you might hear her whispering, begging for a hand on the wheel, daring you to light the fire again. But if you do, you better be ready to race the ghost that built her and pray you don't win, because he's still waiting at the finish line. Want the next one whispered in your ear like a sea witch's curse or howled like a haunted V8 on open water? Just say the word, Captain Kate.
All right, I got this. Well, you
Yeah,
got to
the
tell it.
fake-
No. You can do it, but you got to tell it. 19. You got to explain to it. This one needs to be special. This is my very special 1954 32-foot steel hulled inland seas clipper. Give me your best. Go ahead.
Okay, this one's special. It's very special to me. It is my 1954 Inland Seas steel clipper. It's a steel hull, and it's gutted right now, waiting to go back in the water. This one is precious, but I want you to tell it in the ghostly, sea shanty, harrowing tale with a mix of George Carlin and Christopher Titus humor.
Oh, that's a tall order.
We'll see if it's a hit or a miss.
Oh.
Show me what you got, AI. Ready? There we
Ready.
go.
Aye, Captain Kate. Now this one's sacred. A 1954 Inland Seas steel clipper, a beast forged not in fiberglass but in steel and second chances. She ain't just a boat. She's a memory with a backbone, and she's waiting, staring at dry land like it owes her money. Gutted, maybe. Silent, sure, but not dead. Let's crack the bilge open and pour you a tale, with just enough rust, ghost breath, and Carlin's sneer to give it legs. The clipper that waits. They built her in 54 when men drank gasoline and called it coffee, and welders smoked lucky strikes while sparks danced in their eyes. She was a steel clipper, made not for speed, but for sovereignty. A floating cathedral of grit and rivets. They called her the Inland Seas, but that was just a name. Her soul didn't fit in a harbor. She wanted more. She wanted storms. They say her first captain was a war vet with a face like a cleat and a heart full of lead. Called the boat his Iron Mistress and slept on the deck. Rumor was he wired the radio to whisper in Morse code when the fog rolled in. Nobody ever proved it, but folks who rode her said the damn boat muttered to itself in storms, like it remembered things under the water. And here's where it gets weirder than a Carlin sermon on religion in a church basement. After 10 years of smooth hauntings and mild disappearances, only 2 crewmen vanished, and only one of them was screaming. She just stopped, pulled out of the water, pulled to dry land like an old dog with no bark left. They stripped her bare, interior gutted, systems torn out, voice silenced. But she didn't die. No, she started watching. People say if you pass her in the yard, she'll shift slightly, just enough to make you think you imagined it. Others swear they hear footsteps on her steel deck, and one poor bastard climbed aboard to take a look and came down 30 minutes later asking what year it was. He'd seen visions, full crew, steam rising, music from a time that didn't exist. She don't want restoration, he said. She wants revenge. Some folks say she's waiting for a captain who can match her steel, someone who ain't afraid to curse at the stars, spit in the bilge, and laugh when the compass starts spinning backwards. Someone like you, Kate. Yeah, she's gutted, but so is every warrior waiting to fight again. You don't scrap a sword because it's chipped. You sharpen it. You don't bury a boat because she's silent. You listen closer. And if you do bring her back, just know the spirits below are listening, and they remember her name, the clipper that waits. She ain't haunted. She's haunting. Now, do you want the next tale told in quiet dread or cannon blast madness? Either way, I'll pour the diesel and light the lanterns.
One more.
Just tell it. Give us a little short version. The name of the Inland Seas clipper is Moontide. Give us a story appropriate with the name.
Redo this story and shorten it just a little bit, but the name of the inland sea steel clipper is Moontide. So give us an appropriate haunting version.
There we go. Close enough. Last one.
Aye, now Moontide, she's no ordinary rust bucket. Built in 1954, all steel and stubborn soul, she was born to break waves, not hearts. But the lake took a liking to her and maybe, just maybe, never gave her back. Now she waits, gutted, stripped to bone, dry docked like a sleeping beast with one eye open. They say her first captain vanished mid-voyage, no splash, no scream, just a hat left on the helm and a cold draft in July. From then on, she got weird. Radios hissed lullabies in Morse, the bilge whispered secrets, and fog followed her like a dog with bad intentions. Pulled ashore years ago, she should have gone quiet. But she didn't. Folks walking by say her hull groans under moonlight like she's breathing. One man climbed aboard and came back different. Said he saw a full crew in oilskins, smoking and swearing in languages not heard since the war before the last war. She remembers, he mumbled. She ain't waiting to be restored. She's waiting to be released. Her name is Moontide, and if you step aboard, just know it's not your voyage, it's hers, and she sails again, with or without you.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
If anybody sees this later this week or actually watches it and likes it, I got an idea. We will do this once a week for anybody that sends us their boat names
Ooh.
and
Yeah.
what kind of boat
And
it is.
We'll tailor it to our brand of mystery boat stories.
Yes.
Haunting mystery boat stories with your boat name.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Hanging out on the couch.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. We got to do one more. It's like crack.
You want to do night moves?
I was thinking about it. Tell it.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, tell it. We need one for a 1987 Fishcraft Stinger, 22 foot.
Oh, you probably. Craft us a haunting story of a 1987 22-foot stinger named Night Moves in the style of Captain Quint and Davy Jones after Jack Sparrow after having drunk a six-pack sitting at a table telling stories. Yeah.
Yeah, good
Writing
one.
up a good one. I don't know. I just kind of feel it.
Ah, Night Moves. You say? Sit down, you barnacle-brained bilge rats, and open your ears wide, 'cause this one ain't for the faint of bladder. A tale as twisted as a storm-spun compass and soaked in sin, told by a captain with too many ghosts and not enough rum. She was a 1987 22-foot stinger, sleek, sharp, and slippery as a siren's smile. Red trim, black hull, and a throttle that screamed like a banshee with her tail on fire. They named her Night Moves, and not after the song, mind ye, but for what she did when the sun was down and God wasn't watching. Owned by a man who drank fast, drove faster, and outran the devil on Thursdays. He said she was tuned to hum with the dead. No radios, no charts, just instinct, and the kind of laugh you only hear right before something goes very, very wrong. First time she kissed the water, 3 boats sank in the harbor. Some blamed a rogue wake, others said it was the curse of the keel. But old Captain Blackhand, real name Jerry, he just lit a smoke and said, she don't like company. She ran like hell till the night of the blood tide, full moon, dead calm, no wind. Jerry took her out solo, never came back. The coasties found her circling aimless, motor purring like a cat that just ate something alive. No sign of the cap'n, just his boots neatly set on the seat. Now here's the rum-soaked kicker. Folks say Night Moves still runs when she wants to. You'll hear her engine light up on nights when fog's too thick and the stars hide their faces. Local teens swear they've seen her offshore, empty, skipping waves at 70 knots with no one at the helm. They say if you board her after midnight and whisper your worst memory, she'll take it from you. But you'll owe her a trade. Something flesh and something soul. Because Night Moves don't run on gas, mate. She runs on regret. And if you hear her calling from the dock, don't answer. Unless you're done with the daylight.
Oh
There
my
you have it.
lord. Oh. It got the color red in the what the hell?
Tales. Ghostly tales from You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat.
Yes. That was fun.
That was pretty fun.
That was fun.
3 a.m. 5
4
a.m.
4 a.m. 4:15.
5 a.m.
Yeah,
5
nobody.
a.m. ghost stories on the couch.
We are doing this next week for sure. We'll have to clip this a little bit and we'll make a thumbnail for it.
Night,
I can't
Irene.
shut it off yet. Good night, Irene. We go shut off that camera. Anybody sees this, hope you enjoy it. I don't know how to do that. Oh, X.
But
Yep.